A crucial three-game set in the ACC gets underway tonight at Tech Softball Park. Number 12, Virginia Tech looks to add to its 9-game winning streak, while Clemson aims to bounce back after being swept at home. It's the Hokies and the Tigers on the ACC Network Extra. Hello, everybody. Bailey Engel and Shelby Gwynn. Glad to have you with us here on the ACC Network Extra. And Shelby, not only is this a real pivotal game in the league, this is also a really big clash of styles between softball programs.
Yeah, we'll be seeing a lot of different styles of softball for sure. Virginia Tech supplying power at the plate, really having a lot of consistency in the circle, whereas the Clemson side, consistency at the plate, right, and looking for more durability in the circle.
Well, let's take a look at Virginia Tech first. The Hokies coming into this one on that 9-game winning streak. The big story this year, Nora Abramovich. What a turn she has taken since her freshman year now to her sophomore season.
Right, starting more as a utility player in her rookie season, and now really supplying the power at the plate for the Hokies. So this will be a key hitter that Clemson is going to need to be careful pitching to. You see here that she is able to get that long ball no matter what area of the strike zone. So that will be a key player to keep an eye on.
11 home runs on the year. Another young player to watch out for in an already pretty young team, Clemson's Mac Pavesi.
Yeah, Pavesi here is already stepping up like she's a veteran, leading at the plate. Again, that consistency, putting the ball in play. Of course, she still has the power for the long ball. So in that 3 spot, she is going to be key for them to keep an eye on.
And leads the team in hits. She is going to go up against the ACC Pitcher of the Week, the left-hander for Virginia Tech, Emma Mazzarone.
Yeah, Mazzarone, she's going to be known for her strikeouts, working around the zone. She can bring the heat over the plate, but she does her best when she actually dials it down a little bit, putting a little bit more spin and movement on the ball.
Another junior from Pleasant Garden, North Carolina, southpaw that really has a chance of being the ACC Pitcher of the Year, second in the ACC in total strikeouts, has 102 to her name. And we are just about ready to get underway here in Blacksburg with Brockenbrough. Squares to bunt, pulls back, and that is outside for ball 1. Taking a look at Clemson's lineup, Brockenbrough, the senior, a leader on this team that has so many underclassmen, comes into this one 24-13, 6-6 in the league. As the Tennessee transfer watches that go into the zone for strike 1.
Now Brockenbrough is leading in walks for the ACC, I believe 4th in the ACC, 4 walks, so we've already seen her be selective in this at-bat so far.
And a bit low. Home plate umpire Smokey Eds with first base umpire Scott Mayer and Craig Hyde completing the crew here on Thursday night at Tech Softball Park. Comes a 2-1. In the left, Abramovich almost lost it in the sun, but tracked it down.
Yeah, this game time here starting at 6 p.m. The sun is definitely going to play a part here on the left side of the field.
Even being on a Thursday in the work week, it's still a school night. There's a lot of fans here that have been here for quite a while to watch this Virginia Tech team. Abramovich just made the catch in left. Monica Rose, Rachel Castine, players to watch for in the middle of the infield. Speaking of the middle of the infield, Mazzarone fields her position, 2 away. And Kylie Chanel quickly retired on 1 pitch. That'll bring up Pavesi.
So we'll see Mazzarone be able to mix several different pitches here. Again, she can get up into the low 70s, doing a little bit better when we're hitting about 68, maybe 70 max to get some good movement on the ball. You see 72 there.
Well, she's able to touch 75, but that's a Mazzarone's really able to work well when she slows it down a little bit. You saw right there at 71. She really works well, gets the spin on the ball really well, Shelby, when she's right around 68 to 70 miles an hour. Pavesi trying to get on here with 2 outs. 0-2 to the freshman. Saws it off foul again.
As we said in the open, Pavesi is going to be putting the ball in play. She's going to be somebody that does make contact, which is not a normal situation for Mazzarone, typically a strikeout pitcher.
Another 0-2, waved her. 3 up, 3 down go the Tigers to start off this series. Hokies coming to bat when we come back. It's the first of a 3-game set here at Tech Softball Park, and the ACC Pitcher of the Week is looking good to start things out. Some ACC softball. Hokies coming up to bat for the first time in this series. The ACC Player of the Week. So not only did the Hokies have the ACC Pitcher of the Week, Jordan Lynch gets the honor for Virginia Tech as the ACC Player of the Week, and she's batting second here today.
Lynch riding on a 7-game hit streak at the moment.
Up against Sierra Manis, the primary workhorse for Clemson. She deals a pitch high, and it's ball one. Manis, the junior, a transfer from USC Upstate, leads the ACC in innings pitched with 120 2/3.
We'll talk about the durability of pitching for Clemson. Manis able to really dominate the amount of innings for her team, but also staying in those games for a long time, if not completing her own games. Kind of a rare thing to see sometimes.
Addison Foster, a transfer herself from Stetson, fouls it away. Done a great job in that leadoff role for Virginia Tech. The junior from Lockport, Illinois, batting over 400 in her first season in Blacksburg. That hitter. You know that Manis likes to deal a lot of pitches low and inside, a little too far inside there, and the Hokies have their first base runner of the evening with Addison Foster.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a couple more hit by pitch in this series, but maybe today in particular, Manis trying to be careful around the strike zone with the Hokie hitters.
Off the end of the bat, Manis throws the second, gets the lead runner. Solid play there made by the pitcher. Addison Foster removed from the base paths.
There's that low and away pitch.
Well, Manis, just like Mazzarone, able to field her position. Rockenbrough leading the outfield for Clemson, the senior.
You wouldn't typically see a pitcher go for the lead runner on that, but that is going to be a key for Clemson, is limiting the advancement into that scoring position for Virginia Tech.
Manis working with Corey Hicks, the catcher and a transfer from Oklahoma. All right, Abramovich evening up the count at 1-1.
So Manis going that low and away for the most part, will be an advantage for her against Abramovich, who is going to be supplying the power for the Hokies. The lower in the strike zone, the more ground balls.
And that really is Manis's MO, ground balls, forcing her infielders to make a lot of plays. And when you watch that Florida State series where Manis pitched against Florida State, the Seminoles put Clemson in a ton of tough scenarios because they were batting the ball in play and forcing those Tiger infielders to make plays. See if they can make one here. Throw to second. Tag was not available. An awkward play there as Chanel was slid into by Jordan Lynch, and the ball popped loose.
The throw from Hicks a little bit up the baseline there. Chanel having to take a couple steps in front of second base. Thought at first she was holding on to that. We'll see a second look here. The ball, yeah, just right there, seemed to pop out. So not full control over the ball throughout the entire play. So runner is safe at second.
Yeah, John Rittman popping out. Make sure everyone's okay. An awkward play, but now the Hokies have a runner in scoring position with a 3-1 count. Grounder through the 5-6 hole. Chanel, though, with a pump fake, no throw. That saves a run from potentially going home there. And at the very least, staying at second, Jordan Lynch.
Now, although there's no out on that play, that is still a successful play there for the Tigers, being able to hold that runner at second. The Hokies are very aggressive on the base pass, so the more the ball can stay in the infield, the better they'll go.
Michelle Chatfield, senior, hits one high and deep to right. Going back towards the track, converging, and the catch made by Cintron. Lynch tagging up, she gets there. Now there are runners on the corners, but Clemson made that look difficult.
I wasn't sure there. Lynch was a few feet off of second base while that ball was in the air, so not initially tagging, but she was able to get back to second and then still advance over to third. A bit of a miscommunication there out in right center, but still able to make the out.
Well, senior colliding with the sophomore there. Here comes Zoe Yeager for Virginia Tech. Swings and misses at the first pitch. Man is trying to get out of this inning unscathed. Yeager watches that outside. Having one heck of a season at the plate herself. It seems like that's a constant theme with Pete DeMoore, coach Virginia Tech team, where say, oh, she's having a great year at the plate. She's having a great year at the plate. Fouls it away, 1-2. Pete DeMoore looking on from the dugout in his 8th season as a Virginia Tech head coach. ASUN Conference Coach of the Year when he was at Kennesaw State before Virginia Tech. 2-2. Lynch knocking on the door over at third. Abramovich staying put at first.
See the infield playing deep here, 2 outs, trying to keep the ball in the infield.
Popped up. Shallow center. Collins is there, and the side retired. So Virginia Tech leaves a couple of runners on base. We played one here in Blacksburg, still 0-0 in the series opener between the Tigers and the number 12 Hokies. the second inning. Clemson and Virginia Tech scoreless. John Rittman, the head coach of Clemson softball, the only coach in program history in his 7th season at the head of this program that has really made some noise in its relatively new history. Got to the Super Regional last year, took down Texas in that first game in the Super Regional. They were close to making it to Oklahoma City a season ago, the defending ACC tournament champions. First pitch to Macy Cintron, the reigning ACC Freshman of the Year. Mazzarone deals 1-0. Cintron has dealt with an injury. She's also a pitcher on this Clemson team. Haven't seen her pitch that much this season. Another underclassman in a young roster for this Clemson team. Rounds it on the left side, charging in Lynch.
Great communication there by Lynch, calling off Mazzarone. It's great when a pitcher can field their position, but to also know, don't get too far out of that circle. Let the infielders do what they do best here. A much easier throw across the field for Lynch as well.
The easiest play to make, but Lynch makes it. And here is Julia Noller. Another grounder, and it bounces right into the glove of Mazzarone.
And for Mazzarone to have the speed that she does, and even like we've been talking about, dialing it down and getting more spin, you have to be prepared for some of those, off-balance hits. And so a pitcher like Mazzarone has to be able to field her position.
Firing right into the zone on Marion Collins. Coming off a good night against Gardner-Webb in that midweek game for Clemson. Went 3 for 4 with 3 runs scored. Goes outside. This is a Clemson team 6-6 in the ACC. Have won a few conference series already this year against Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Louisville. Had a tough one last week against Florida State. Now 1-2. Mazzarone has had command early. Lefty fires. Well, just as I say she had command, that goes to the backstop. Oh, good old announcer jinx. 2-2. Collins staying alive.
Able to get good contact on the ball this early in the game is a good sign for Collins and Clemson Tigers.
Another 2-2. Another roller. Mazzarone underhands, and it was not in time. That ball drifted a bit high. And I don't think that Mazzarone played that as quickly as was needed there to get Collins, who sprinted it out to her credit.
Yeah, maybe wasn't quite aware of the speed that Collins had. The other piece being a lefty pitcher, having to field the ball and then, kind of turn to underhand it. That's adding on time there.
Well, it scored as an infield single. Corey Hicks looks at that ball outside. Let's see what Clemson can do here with 2 outs. Sophomore from San Jose, California, hitting at .270 on the year, but does have 7 home runs. This is a Clemson team, doesn't have a lot of home run hitters. And this is just a bit upstairs, much to the chagrin of the Virginia Tech fans in attendance.
Could have been the pitch for Hicks to add on to that home run count, though. If that's where her power is, that's the height of pitch that she needs to be looking for.
Fouls it away. Oh, Hicks coming to Clemson, made 5 starts for Oklahoma, hit .260 for the Sooners, and has been really the primary catcher for Clemson. Waited on that, and it doesn't miss by much. 3-1, a batter's count for the Clemson catcher. Well, the runner at first, Mazzarone trying to bounce back, a 3-1. Now full count.
Great pitch for Mazzarone, just slightly inside, knowing that that's going to be swung on by Hicks, but not good enough over the plate to make real contact in fair territory.
Back-to-back good at-bats for Clemson. See if Corey Hicks can join Collins on the base paths here. Fouled it away again.
If Hicks is able to win this at-bat, this could be a good momentum shift early on for Clemson already, kind of taking control in this second inning.
Collins battled, got an infield single. Another payoff coming to Hicks, and it bounces away. So after a quick 2 outs to start things off here in the second inning, a single from Collins and now a walk from Corey Hicks. That'll bring up the third baseman, Sarah Bro.
You know, one thing Coach DeMoore had talked to us about is really limiting the free passes for Clemson hitters. We know they're going to be putting it in play, so being able to limit those free passes.
You can tell Clemson just being pretty patient here, and we're already going to see a visit. Coach Josh Johnson coming out from the dugout in his second season here in Blacksburg. Mazzarone coming into today 8-1. What a great year for her with 102 strikeouts coming in today. But you got to look at that pitch location most of the time from the left-hander. Looks like she's firing a little bit outside most of the time.
Yeah, so that's going to be for that left-hander her drop ball going towards that outside lower part of the strike zone, seeing most of her pitches landing there. And again, when she gets her velocity in the right range, then she's able to kind of see that drop ball really drop off the ledge.
2 runners aboard for Clemson, and that drops off a bit too low, 2-0. Sarah Bro's in a really big position here for Clemson. 2 runners aboard on Mazzarone, coming off a great weekend. Strokes it to left field. Abramovich turns around. That is gone.
We talked about the power for Virginia Tech, and look at Clemson stepping up here, being able to get runners on base with some of those free passes and then really capitalizing on the moment here.
Sarah Bro, that's her 2nd home run of her college career. And what a time to do it for Clemson, a team that is, after last week's debacle against Florida State, in desperate need of a bounce back in the league, and Sarah Bro is ready to do so here in Blacksburg.
Looked a little bit like Mazzarone might have left that drop ball a little bit too high. We talked about that lower part of the zone really working for her, but when she leaves it up at that belt height, that's the result that she's going to see.
So a 3-run homer for the third baseman for Clemson, getting a hero's welcome in the dugout. Taylor Pipkins takes a strike. Check swing, called a strike.
It's a great response so far by Mazzarone. Just going back in and attacking the strike zone like it's hers.
Swings and misses, so Mazzarone, after giving up the home run, gets her 2nd strikeout of the evening. But Sarah Bro, going yard for the 2nd time this season, puts the Tigers up 3-0 after 1.5 here at TSP. workhorse for Clemson. They rely on her a ton. It's probably not the last time we're going to see her this weekend.
Absolutely. She's dominating the innings for her team, but she's no stranger to facing top 25 teams. She has had some success, 4 wins in their season against top 25 teams, so she's prepared to face Virginia Tech hitters.
And take a look at the primary pitches that she uses. A lot of drop ball, Shelby.
A lot of drop ball. A little bit of unknown, a little bit of mix of some other things, but low in the zone. That's why we're seeing the defense being able to work with ground balls. And against Virginia Tech, that's a great strategy. We talk about power. We talk about a lot of home runs coming out of Virginia Tech's team. Keeping the ball lower in the zone is the best strategy to have. Give yourself a chance. Let your defense play.
Veteran second baseman Rachel Castine up. Takes a pitch for a called strike 2. Senior from Chesapeake, Virginia. Been quite an odyssey of her time here at Virginia Tech. As the 5th-year senior pops that one up, Chanel finds it. Oh, one away in the bottom of the second, and that'll bring up Kylie Aldridge. Another upperclassman in this Virginia Tech lineup. Aldridge with 3 home runs on the year, 25 RBIs. Man, it's not wasting any time.
We talk about 2 different styles of play between Clemson and Virginia Tech, but we're also looking at a maturity and an experience level with Clemson, a much younger starting roster versus Virginia Tech having a lot of veterans.
Yeah, and only in the second inning, but you got to give it to Clemson there in the top of the second. 2 quick outs, able to battle it out with Mazzarone, force an infield single, a walk, and then the blast from Sarah Bro to make it 3-0. Hokies trying to answer.
And Coach Rittman was very clear to have success in this series. Getting ahead and taking control of the game early on is going to be the best strategy for Clemson. Taking advantage of those free passes.
3-0 dealt right down Broadway. Well, just those 3 home runs for Kylie Aldridge does have some pop. Up the middle, bounces through. So Aldridge is on for the Hokies' second hit of the ball game. And Virginia Tech trying to generate some life here with 1 out in the bottom of the second.
Ball was a little bit on the inside part of the plate there, but Aldridge did a great job getting her hands through, finding the middle of the field.
Here's a player that Virginia Tech's head coach Pete Demore is really impressed with, Gabby Mizell, the freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina. Hitting almost 340 in her first year of collegiate softball. Says that now she doesn't panic through tough stretches.
Your coach also talked kind of about her softball IQ and being, a smart player, and that's probably what's getting her to earn that spot as a freshman in the lineup. Is she knows the game and she's smart about playing it.
1-1. And a home run in the last series against Boston College, where the Hokies scored 32 runs up in Massachusetts. Sliced into right field. That'll get down for a base hit. Aldridge around second, diving into third. And Virginia Tech has runners on the corners.
And exactly there, we see Virginia Tech responding immediately in the bottom half of this inning. We see the aggressive base running as well. Mizell able to really just battle it off there. The perfect placement in the field, too. You got a runner at first. You want it on the right side of the field to give that base runner the best chance at rounding second and being safe at third.
A good piece of opposite field hitting. Annika Rose, the shortstop, coming up to bat for Virginia Tech. Now, something that Pete Demore has said about Annika Rose, he says to her, I don't need a home run, I just need a good at-bat. Grounder to short, on to first, not in time. Annika Rose, I mean, I don't know if he would necessarily constitute that as a great at-bat, but she gets the job done and brings a run home.
Yeah, I think I would constitute as a great at-bat. That's, you know, doing your job, whatever needs to be done. And if that's sacrificing yourself or sacrificing a different runner, whatever you have to do to get that runner into home. It's really a theme, too, of the hitters for Virginia Tech have kind of this selflessness about themselves, kind of taking turns with the home runs, taking turns with the RBIs.
Well, coming up later tonight at 8 p.m. over on ACC Network, the first of 3 baseball games between Louisville and Duke in Durham. Should be a great night of baseball down in North Carolina between the Blue Devils and the Cardinals. Sierra Manis trying to manage this jam here. Hokies have a runner on with 2 outs now. Back to the top of the lineup with Addison Foster, who got hit by a pitch.
And really props to Clemson with that play as well, able to at least leave with an out there with 2 outs, kind of stop the bleeding. That's definitely something that Virginia Tech does very well, is being able to just tack on run after run.
On the count at 1-1. This is a Hokies team that is really not bad at scoring. I'll tell you that. 8 runs per game. So being down 3-0 isn't necessarily something that's going to intimidate a Virginia Tech lineup that has certainly a deep 9 there.
And the perspective for Clemson is you just have to expect that runs are going to happen, so to not get rattled by that.
Count rises to 3-1 for the center fielder for Virginia Tech and Addison Foster. Foster watches it go, throw out to center, it bounces there. Brockenbrough able to back up the throw from Hicks, but a stolen bag for Annika Rose. And now that makes it even more interesting, as it wouldn't have mattered anyway because it's ball 4.
Being able to put that runner in motion, though, is very smart for the Virginia Tech coaching staff there, so that if it's not a walk, the runner is already a few steps ahead, not having to react to the hit.
Here is Jordan Lynch. Got on with the fielder's choice. Her last time up, making some noise here with a bouncer into right field. Here comes Rose, and the Hokies are within 1.
See the Virginia Tech faithful up on their feet already. No doubt that they were going to be responding in the bottom half of this inning. And again, perfect placement in the field for that hit, getting it into the right field side. Lynch getting her bat all the way around it and turning on this pitch. It's exactly what you're looking for. To have that ball being thrown from the outfield all the way across the field down into home is a very challenging play to make.
Now after Virginia Tech quickly found itself down 3-0, have already answered back here with the ACC Player of the Week, driving in a run on a single with 2 outs. And always dangerous Nora Abramovich coming up.
Yeah, not surprised to see a visit to the mound at this point with the momentum that we're feeling at the field. Abramovich at the plate, trying to break up that momentum a bit, talk to your team, calm down any type of nerves. Hey, we knew they were gonna score. We knew they were gonna score multiple runs, right?
Especially with a pitcher like Manis, whose whole strategy is to get the ball in play, let your infielders and outfielders make those plays. It's just tough to do it against a team like Virginia Tech. Here's Abramovich. Watches it go outside, ball 1.
And what Tech's been able to do, too, is even those balls that are in that lower part of the zone, the Hokies are able to kind of lift it up into the outfield. So, you know, Manis is thinking that those drop balls are going to be ground balls like you're seeing here.
Chanel able to get the out at second and stop the inning for Clemson. But Virginia Tech scores 2 runs after the RBI single from Annika Rose and Jordan Lynch. It's 3-2 after 2 in Blacksburg. Welcome back here. Now joined by the head coach of Clemson softball, John Rittman. Now, Coach Cerebro, your freshman was able to go yard there to put you guys up 3-0. What does it mean for you to see her succeed in a role like that?
Oh, it's huge. I think it builds her confidence. Obviously, she's been on our lineup pretty much the entire year. Good hitter, great teammate, works her tail off, and plays a good third base. So it's nice to see her get a big hit for us.
Coach, talk to me a little bit about the strategy with Manis in the circle and facing Virginia Tech Hokies.
Yeah, she's got to throw her change up, and she's got to keep them off balance. They're a really good hitting team, and I think trust her defense a little bit. They've found a few holes on us there to get back in the game, so she's got to try to shut them out, and we got to score some more runs, definitely.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
So Clemson up 3-2 in front of this packed crowd here at Tech Softball Park. Big ACC series, Virginia Tech coming in on a 9-game winning streak, dating all the way back to that series against Duke, where Virginia Tech dropped the first 2 games and then run-ruled the Blue Devils in the series finale. Since then, swept NC State, able to sweep Longwood in a midweek doubleheader, and then swept Boston College on the road. And then Mazzarone gave up a home run in the last inning, and now starts it off against the top of the Clemson lineup with Brockenbrough here.
And so coming into that success with Virginia Tech and this crowd, that could rattle a team, but we saw a shot there of Clemson's dugout. Seems to be in good spirits going into the plate.
Now Brockenbrough trying to sneak on with a bunt.
And we've seen that from her, I think, both at bats so far.
Flew out to left field her last time up. And she strokes that into right, finds herself on the base paths. Gonna lead things off here in the 3rd inning.
And the lefty hitters turning and showing bunt like that does kind of play with the pitching strategy a little bit. So that could have been kind of on purpose, show that the first pitch, being able to get a more hittable pitch second.
Here comes Kylie Chanel. Well, she only saw 1 pitch, so we really didn't have the proper introduction of the Clemson shortstop. We'll get a second pitch and a successful sacrifice that moves Brockenbrough into scoring position. Mac Pavesi struck out swinging her last time up. Off the end of the bat and fouled away.
Definitely an important at-bat here for Mazzarone, being able to keep Pavesi on her toes a little bit, have those off-balance foul balls.
Down the line and right. That bounces right on the chalk. That is a base hit. Throw home. Tag isn't there from Yeager. Brockenbrough dove in to score. They're saying it's foul. And you got to think that maybe there's going to be a review of this.
So we see the foul call from the home plate umpire. Coach Rittman having a conversation over there now.
Yeager did not go around to tag. See if they're going to take a look.
What's surprising to me, too, is that Virginia Tech didn't kind of fully play that out.
Right.
You know, they kind of stopped playing there, and that could get tricky if they're able to call a review.
Get another look. From our angle. Oof. Ooh.
It looks like white there. That's tough on this angle. But again, with the review as a possibility, you would think you play it out 100%.
Especially in a scenario like that, instead of an RBI single for Pavesi, a check swing said she went around. That's strike 3 and a huge swing there. Macy Cintron comes up with a runner in scoring position now. Right down the middle from Mazzarone. Goes outside. That was a reviewable play, Shelby.
Really?
So
Well, it's early in the game, so I'm guessing that that's what coach is keeping in mind, is that, hey, there's going to be some more opportunities that might be a little more important to review down the line. No pun intended there.
it's okay if you did intend it.
But, you know, I mean, his team has clearly already found offensive success in the first 2 innings of this game. So, you know, probably not a bad coaching call there to kind of save the reviews for the later part of the game.
Fouled away. Have a look at reviewable plays. Batted ball is fair or foul. There's number 1 there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure with like the angle of the home plate umpire as well if that played any role in it, but it seems like that could have been reviewed. So I'm assuming that coach again is just trying to hold on to that for maybe a more crucial moment in the game.
So 1-2, bounces away. Yeager does not throw it over to third. And Brockenbrough advances on the wild pitch.
I think you can hear in the background the cheering from the Clemson dugout. That is definitely something to note coming into this series, is that the energy and the hype that Clemson is going to provide, whether they're ahead or behind in the game.
Sharply hit, diving play, Lynch to throw, scoop is there!
Absolutely insane play by Jordan Lynch. Like a veteran, the sophomore.
Jordan Lynch saving a run from being scored. She's been able to do it at the plate and now doing it in the field. What a throw from the third baseman. Tech in attendance tonight. James Franklin taking in this big ACC matchup here at Tech Softball Park. And he's one of a ton of fans here who have really packed here at TSP. As James Franklin looks on, got the energy going here for Virginia Tech after that big play from Jordan Lynch to end things in the top of the third, saved a run from being scored. Michelle Chatfield to lead it off here for Virginia Tech. Sharply hit to short. Chanel. Well, we have seen some great infield play in this game. I know it's just the bottom of the third, but everyone is just eating it up out there.
I mean, you've got to be for the Clemson defense, too. You are going to be expecting those balls to be in play, so I'm sure that is a key part of their practice. Great pitch there by Manis on the outside part there. Chatfield just kind of got the end of her bat around it.
There's a strike. Manis giving up a couple of runs there in the second inning with 2 outs. On the ground again, this time at Collins. Now 2 away. So Kylie Johnson highlighting some defensive changes for Clemson. She's now in left field. And Taylor Pipkins moving over to right. Rachel Castine trying to spark a 2-out rally for Virginia Tech. She popped up to shorter last time up. Check swing there.
A good placement of that pitch. That low inside is a really tough pitch for hitters to get to.
And it's where Manis goes the most. 2-1.
Yeah, it's always tough facing the Hokie hitters because you're trying to skirt around the strike zone, but they are also so selective about their swings.
Another grounder off the chest of Chanel, stayed with it, and Castine is out. Couple of great plays made by Riley Chanel at short, and this game stays at 3-2. We'll talk with head coach Pete Demore when we get back. We're through 3 innings at TSP. Tigers lead by 1. Tigers lead the Hokies 3-2. Now joined with head coach of Virginia Tech softball, Pete Demore. Now, coach, heading into the 4th inning of work for Emma Mazzarone, what have you thought of her performance so far?
I think she's doing fine. A funky inning in the second, you know, and so hung a ball and kid hit it out, but other than that, she's doing okay.
Coach, I would love to hear about Jordan Lynch, not just the leadership so far in the batter's box, but on the field as well.
Yeah, she just comes to play every day and plays hard and works hard and just a fun kid to be around.
Well, thanks, Coach. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Gobble, gobble.
Well, as the Hokies come into this one down 3-2, give you a recap of what has happened so far. That funky inning that Coach Demore was talking about, Mazzarone started it off, got Cintron and Noller to ground out pretty quickly. Collins got on with an infield single. Hicks walked, and then Sarah Bro closed things out with a home run there in the 2nd inning to put the Tigers up 3-0. Virginia Tech answered, though, with a couple of runs there in the bottom of the 2nd. So here we are in the 4th. First game of a 3-game series between the Tigers and the Hokies. Julian Noller watches that flutter outside.
See a little bit of an infield shift here on Noller. Got Lynch at 3rd base quite a bit off the line, so playing into the right side of the field.
As Mazzarone fires that on the inner portion of the plate.
And Noller needs to be expecting that too. With that shift in the infield at least, you're likely not getting a lot of outside pitches here. So you do see her a little bit off of the plate.
Yanks it down the line and foul.
Exactly like that. That's the pitch that she is ready for. That's the one she's expecting. A good piece of bat on that, just timing off ever so slightly.
Outside and high that time. Bit of a waste pitch, but now full count on Julia Noller. Would have hit a home run in that series finale against Florida State. Goes opposite field, but right at Abramovich. And the sophomore makes the catch for out number 1. Well, on Saturday, we will have a pair of series finales. Number 10, Florida State hosts Notre Dame in Tallahassee at 2 Eastern. Then at 6, these two teams finish their series right here in Blacksburg. Both games are available on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. It's low. Marion Collins up to the plate. Had that great at-bat to start off. A bit of a rally for Clemson. Fouled off a ton of pitches. And we have seen here with Clemson the maturity at the plate. Collins, not a freshman, a sophomore, but still a young player. We're seeing them have those professional at-bats against the ACC Pitcher of the Week in Mazzarone.
And you really have no choice. When you have a young team, you have to act like juniors and seniors pretty much. So being able to kind of quickly gain that maturity, learning from each at-bat.
Remember the all-ACC freshman team a season ago.
I like the note there of 3 different positions this season that she's played at least 1 game in. So again, talking to the young roster, that's part of it too, is being able to be flexible, adaptable to different positions, you know, early on in the season primarily, so that coach can kind of figure out how the puzzle goes together.
Full count. Mazzarone approaching 60 pitches. Home run has done all the scoring for Clemson. Those 3 hits given up so far in this one. Collins trying to add to it with her second of the day. Watches it go low, and once again we see that plate maturity for Collins. Reaches for the second time here tonight. Corey Hicks had a long plate appearance her last time up and earned herself a base on balls. Check swing, foul ball. Gotta expect a good battle when both of these teams square off. Virginia Tech 7-5 all time in the series against Clemson in the 7 years of the program. And that goes in for a strike for Mazzarone.
Change up there low in the zone. Great timing to slow that pitch down, but also great placement, keeping it low just in case the hitter is on time. It's likely going to be on the ground.
Drops just a bit low and outside. You could tell Hicks was thinking about it.
Same one, that little bit of a drop change there. Speed was 59, but you did see that little drop off. You know, Mazzarone mixing that a little bit more than we've seen in the first few innings.
Another check swing.
And then coming with the heat, that's probably the hardest part. You see 59, you turn around and see 72.
See where Mazzarone goes here on a 2-2. Another full count.
Speeding it down again.
Another long at bat for Corey Hicks. Fouls it off the end of the bat. Yeager wants a new game ball, gets it. So Sarah Bro on deck, who's got the home run tonight. Another payoff. Fouled away again. Just wasn't squared up with that pitch. Timing was there for Hicks. We'll see yet another pitch from the southpaw. Got her. No, they go down on the appeal, and Virginia Tech, the crowd here thought that that was a called strike 3. They appealed down to the first base umpire, Scott Mayer, and instead it is a walk.
Quite the at-bat there for Hicks, battling very close there with the turn of the bat. I thought it actually was closer to a called strike as opposed to even a swing. Like, it was very, very close to the corner of the plate there.
So just a bit outside there. That was close as John Rittman comes out.
Again, Mazzarone really mixing in that changeup, especially coming in here with Bro at the plate.
Oh, Bro. Sorry, Shelby. Last time she was up, she was able to go yard on this pitch, and a convincing stroke at that. Her second home run of the year to start the scoring here. That was back in the second inning.
Yeah, Bro seeing the ball really well out of Mazzarone's hand. We've already seen her mixing more of the changeup, and so with the power that Bro has shown already, I think we're going to continue to see more changeups in this at-bat. 78 mile per hour exit velocity.
Got out of here in a hurry.
Shoo. I'm not sure the wind was helping any either.
No,
the
not
way
at
that
all.
flag is going.
What can Bro do here? Another check swing. This time it's just called a strike. So back-to-back walks.
Those free passes that we're talking about, that is what is going to come back to get Virginia Tech.
The 0-1. That's inside and nails the strike zone on the inside corner.
That is one of the toughest pitches of a lefty pitcher against a right-handed hitter. That curve to the inside coming in towards you.
Kennedy aerial on to run for Collins at second base. Flares high. Well, John Rittman said has a lot of trust in Sarah Bro. She's been a starter all year. This misses inside this time.
Good placements by Mazzarone. She was ahead in the count. That's a good spot for that pitch.
Still trying to nibble on the inside on the right-handed Bro. Ariel at second, Hicks at first for Clemson. Popped up. So that stays in the yard. Lynch trying to find it, and does. That just feels like a big win for Virginia Tech after a couple of long at-bats. Jordan Lynch comes in and makes the play in foul territory. Taylor Pipkins, the right fielder now. On a line into left field. Abramovich ready to throw. Play at the plate is cut off. Lynch throws back to second. Not in time, and a run comes in to score. As Pipkins drives in aerial. It's now 4-2 Tigers.
Interesting decision there to cut off that ball from the outfield. I'm wondering, I'm seeing a little bit of exchange there on the field. I'm wondering if there's a bit of miscommunication, that wanting that ball to come all the way through to home, but we see Lynch cut it off. Great aggressive swing there by Pipkins, finding the hole in the infield.
Let's even see if this would have been close. Yeah, I don't know.
Looks like some miscommunication there. It definitely would have been a close play. I'm not sure it would be a very clear catch, tag, and out, but there definitely was a chance there.
So now 4-2. Another piece of two-out hitting for Clemson. Pipkins on with an RBI single. Hicks at second after the walk. Jamison Brockenbrough back up, and that goes high and away. Brockenbrough able to single her last time up.
You hear the energy and excitement building in the Clemson dugout.
Watches it go through the legs of Yeager. She didn't know where it was for a second. And that split second of hesitation allows both Tigers runners to scurry into scoring position. Now this next pitch is huge for Mazzarone and Brockenbrough. 1 and 2. Brockenbrough is able to get on here. Could potentially open this up to make it 6-2. Swing and a miss at a high pitch. And Mazzarone's able to get out of that jam, but a run comes in to score on 1 hit and 2 walks. 2 runners left on in scoring position. Clemson adds to its lead after Brockenbrough strikes out, but before that, a big RBI single for Taylor Pipkins.
So all out-of-market games, live or on demand, plus all your favorite sports on ESPN. We need to tell the people, Carl.
We're doing it right now.
ESPN is now the home of MLB.tv. All out-of-market games, live or on demand, all in one place.
Back to Tech Softball Park. Virginia Tech, the number 12 team in the country, coming in on a 9-game winning streak. That is now in jeopardy. 4-2, the Tigers lead over this Hokies team. Kylie Aldridge up against Sierra Manis. First pitch is a bit high and pops out of play off the glove of Hicks. Aldridge, one of the 2 runs scored for Virginia Tech. Hokies gave up a run there in the top of the 4th on the RBI 2-out single from Taylor Pipkins. Manis entering another inning of work. Has been getting the job done for Clemson so far. As prescribed, Manis with no strikeouts here today, but the Hokies put the ball in play on 3 straight grounders there in the 3rd. Exactly what Clemson needs her to do to win this game and potentially this series if we see Manis again. That was coming into today 120 innings with 2/3, first in the ACC in innings pitched. Now 3-1.
And noting that ERA just over 2. And that's showing right there that although the ball's getting put in play, that her defense is also backing her up.
3-1 outside and high, and Aldridge gets on with a walk to start things off in the bottom of the 4th inning. Gabby Mazzell comes up. She got on with a singler last time up. Pinch runner for Virginia Tech. That's going to be Lily Palante. So Palante goes on for Aldridge. See what the freshman can do here with the Hokies down 2. Down the right field line, long charge, and it's foul past the dive of Pipkins.
It's great effort there, but something to also think about is if she is making that catch, then runner at first is tagging and advancing on that. So, you know, although we love to see a hustle and make the play for the out, something to think about there.
At the end of the bat, that is a fair ball. Manis with no throw as she slips in the dirt.
The absolute hardest play to make, the swinging bunt, as we call it. For our catcher wearing full gear, coming out of their catcher's stance, pitcher having to charge towards the mound right after releasing the ball. It's one of the hardest balls to field successfully.
Well, collides with Hicks there. So goes off the plate, which is still fair.
And sometimes you'll see it bounce on the plate, but then, you know, bounce into foul.
Well, certainly works for Gabby Mizell as the speedy freshman gets over to first. Palante to second. Annika Rose up. She drove in a run on a fielder's choice her last time up. Showing bunt, lays it down. It's a good one. Rose on to first. Able to move both runners into scoring position, including the tying run, and Gabby Mizell to second base on the sacrifice and flips the lineup card on over for Virginia Tech. Back to the top with Addison Foster.
Just an interesting string together for Virginia Tech. Definitely not their typical style of offense, but figuring out a way to move the runners around. I think most situations you would not see that sacrifice bunt to advance the runner to third. That's kind of classic style of softball or old school style of softball, but Virginia Tech typically is keeping the bat in the hitter's hands.
Goes outside again, 2-0. Infield is in for Clemson. And John Rittman comes out of the dugout.
I think that's smart timing there. You hear the crowd starting to kind of rally up, but also smart to kind of talk with the defense of what the best play here might be.
Yeah, because there's no force. So with the infield in, imagine you're checking down Palante to see if she's actually going, then throw it over to first, Pavesi.
And you still have a 2-run lead, so I'm sure there's conversation of, depending on the ball, let that 1 run score. Let's get 2 outs.
Because it isn't like Clemson is necessarily struggling to score. Now, they're not racking them up on the scoreboard, but you do have a bit of confidence in your ability to bat here today.
Absolutely.
2-0 to Foster. Grounder on the right side. Pavesi lays down the tag. Everyone stays put, and that's exactly what Clemson wanted.
That's an ideal situation there for Clemson. 2 outs now. Runners have not moved.
Now Jordan Lynch drove in a runner last time up, hit into a fielder's choice the first time. Doesn't take long to take a big cut. That's a foul ball. Had that great play on the defensive end earlier, threw out Cintron on a hard hit ball over on the corner. Now looking for a big base hit here. Into center field, long charge in. Brockenbrough, she made the play! Brockenbrough keeps the Hokies off the scoreboard in the bottom of the 4th, and the senior pulls up with a huge defensive effort.
Clemson Tigers fired up, clearing out of the dugout. We'll take another look at this. Great contact on the ball by Jordan Lynch, but amazing diving play there. Clemson Tigers excited, coming back in, ready to score some more.
Clemson-Durham, the number 8 ranked men host number 14 Virginia at noon Eastern. Then at 4, the number 18 women host number 3 Syracuse. Both are available on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Big lacrosse day down in Durham for the Blue Devils as we come back here to Blacksburg. You blink and this game is almost over. We're in the 5th inning. What a game we've had. And I think the story of this game, Shelby, it's been a defensive game for sure. We have seen highlight after highlight of plays in the field by both teams.
Yeah, which is also hats off to the pitchers that they're making hitters put the ball in play, but defense definitely came to play tonight.
2-3-4 due up against Mazzarone. Chanel 0 for 1, got on with the, or grounded out and pushed a runner forward on a sacrifice bunt. Brockenbrough making that catch to silence Jordan Lynch. 2 runners in scoring position for the Hokies. If that dive does not work out for her, 2 runs are coming in to score and tie the game. But instead, the senior had other plans and was able to make the catch. Right field, easy enough for Mizell.
Yeah, you make a great point. That definitely was a risky decision there. You know, she must have had the confidence that she was gonna make the catch, because if that ball is down, 2 runs are likely scoring on. That's a different game then.
Mac Pavesi's 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Mazzarone has 4. Chopper bounces foul. Mazzarone giving up those 3 runs on a bit of a wonky inning, as Pete Demore described it there in the 2nd. And a run driven in on an RBI single from Taylor Pipkins in the top of the 4th. Blasted into center field, tracking back, and the catch is made by Foster. Couple of flyouts here on the 5th to start out the 5th inning. You see Cintron coming up with 2 outs, nobody aboard. As Mazzarone looks for the first 1-2-3 inning since the top of the 1st. Clemson has done a solid job of getting some runners on with 2 outs.
Really forcing the inside part of the plate so far.
On 1-2. On the sophomore, trying to spark something here, coming in hitting .280, reigning ACC Freshman of the Year. It's a bounce away. So Mazzarone looking to retire Clemson in order for the first time since the 1st inning. Hokies have the 3-4-5 due up in the bottom of the 5th. Want to keep it at just a 2-run deficit for now. What a statement this could be for Clemson to go on the road and beat Virginia Tech here at Tech Softball Park to start it off. Full count.
We'll struggle with control there.
A 3-2. And you started off the broadcast, Shelby, talking about a difference in styles. And from what we have seen tonight and just how the game has been played, Clemson has had these long at-bats, long battles. Virginia Tech seems like when they have been in the batter's box, it's been quick. And Cintron with that in mind, another long plate appearance ends up with a base on balls.
Yeah, seeing a little difference of attacking the ball early on for Virginia Tech versus a little bit more patience. Not that Clemson's not swinging early on, but if it's good enough to foul off there, you know, that's just helping you as a hitter to see the ball even better for the next pitch.
Noller looks at it outside, and Shelby, all 4 runs for Clemson have been scored with 2 outs. So now you see an at-bat like this, all the more important for Julia Noller, who is due 0 for 2. And the Tigers' 2-out magic continue on into the 5th inning. Runner on the inside corner, Mazzarone. Another 1-2 count. But in almost every at-bat with 2 strikes, Clemson has battled. Will Noller do the same? Off the end of the bat, that is barely foul.
It's one of those tricky ones. You hear the crowd kind of oohing and awing. If that kind of curves back in and hits that third base, that would be a fair ball.
So now 94 pitches. Mazzarone getting the green light for the foreseeable future. No one in the pen for Virginia Tech. Fouled away again.
And I can understand the confidence in Mazzarone, obviously with her resume, but really tonight, it's not that Clemson hitters have totally, you know, dominated on her, you know, or really figured her out completely. There's still definitely plenty of times that she's keeping the hitters on their toes. You see that foul ball just inches away from hitting that third base. You know, with Lynch at third base playing deep as well, there's no opportunity for her to cut that ball off early and field it before the base, so tricky play.
2-2. Full count again. So Julia Noller has fouled off a few pitches here.
I think the only reason I would start warming somebody up is seeing that little bit of control struggle here with Mazzarone.
Huge payoff pitch. Sharply hit, second base side. Castine backs up and makes the play. So Cintron left on for Clemson, and the Tigers hold on to their 4-2 lead going into the bottom of the 5th. set between Clemson and Virginia Tech has been everything a softball fan would want. Big highlights, especially on the defensive end here at a packed night at Tech Softball Park. Brock and Bro and company lead the Hokies 4-2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Sierra Manis in the circle for Clemson. Her team up primarily because of that big home run in the 2nd inning with 2 outs from Sarah Bro. And now the Hokies trying to inch back here with a 3-4-5 due up. Abramovich, Chatfield, and Yeager. Abramovich, who has had that turnaround season. Pete Demore has described it as almost night and day difference from last year. Starting left fielder for the Hokies watches that just a bit low. She is 1 for 2, got on with the single in the 1st inning and was left on. Another sharply hit ground ball. Bro is there. And the solid fielding effort by Clemson continues, this time on the hot corner with the freshman Bro. Manis getting the job done in the circle. Chatfield watches it low. We said coming into tonight, she's not going to be a pitcher that gets a lot of strikeouts, Shelby. She has induced a lot of ground balls, and Clemson has backed her up.
And she's staying true to that plan. We see her continue to go to that drop ball. Those are great spots for it. The unfortunate part is the Hokies, for the most part, have a pretty good eye and are quite patient in the batter's box.
5-6 hole scoop from Bro. Put another 5-3 into your scorebook at home.
She makes that look so smooth and so easy, and that is not. To be able to read the ball of when to come forward, when to get it off of the bounce.
Zoe Yeager trying to break the trend here of grounding out to Sarah Bro, who's having herself a game. Was at her this time, but foul. Yeager's 0 for 2. I think another storyline in this game, the patience of Clemson at the plate. I know Emma Mazzarone has almost 100 pitches. And Sierra Manis right now is not really close to that.
Again, the difference between the patience versus the attacking mentality of Virginia Tech. Most of the best pitches you're going to see in an at-bat are in the beginning part of your at-bat, the first few pitches.
Count of 1-2. Manis trying to sit the Hokies down in order to send this into the 6th inning. Yeager swings and misses at a pitch in the dirt. Hicks up to throw. And that is it for the 5th inning. Sierra Manis is fired up, and she should be. Tigers up on the number 12 team in the country here in Game 1 through 5 at Tech Softball Park. Sixth inning, Shelby, it really has been a masterclass from both of them. We have seen a great job out of Manis, especially getting Virginia Tech to swing early in the counts and come up empty on a ground ball.
And really had her defense behind her. I think a key stat on there is pointing out the walks for Mazzarone. 4 walks there. It might not seem like a lot, but then when we're stringing together other kind of mishits, there's no errors on the board, but there were a couple plays that, you know, are atypical, I guess. Not your traditional type of hit. I think all of those little moments are adding up against Virginia Tech.
And even more pivotal, Shelby, the fact 4 walks, 2 of them have come around to score. That makes the difference here in a 4-2 ball game. Marion Collins has reached both times. There's a strike.
A good mix of the changeup there. Good location.
Six hitter in the lineup for Clemson. Impressive 2-strike hitting for Clemson tonight. 4 runs scored with 2 outs. 3 of them on the home run from Sarah Bro in the second inning. It's been the major dent in the scoreboard here. Ground ball, backhanded stab. Chatfield is there. And Collins retired for the first time tonight.
I think the success that you're seeing from Clemson, too, is just their consistency, chipping away pitch after pitch.
Well, coming up later tonight at 8 p.m. over on ACC Network, the first of 3 baseball games between Louisville and Duke in Durham. It should be a great night of baseball. Coming up on just 28 minutes away from that. Right at short. Rose makes the play to send Hicks back into the dugout. Here's Sarah Bro. Fouled out to Jordan Lynch at third her last time up. 1 for 2 today. Nibbles on the outside corner, strike 1. Another close game between Clemson and Virginia Tech. It was a close one last year in the ACC semifinal. In the right, staying inside of the ballpark, and Clemson is retired 3 up, 3 down. Hokies surely needed that as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech down by 2 and trying to get the bats going when we come back. We will have a pair of series finales. Number 10, Florida State hosts Notre Dame in Tallahassee at 2 Eastern. Then at 6, these 2 teams right here finish their series in Blacksburg. Both games are on ESPN, on the ESPN app and on the ACC network. For Clemson and Virginia Tech. You got to imagine that could be another close game on Saturday. This is shaping out to be an exciting finish here in Blacksburg with Rachel Castine coming to bat against Sierra Manis. Hokies down 2. There's a strike dropped by Hicks. Castine 0 for 2. A 6-7-8 due up for Virginia Tech. Hokies' only runs came in back in the second inning. Manis has been money for the Tigers. On the ground again. Bro, one away. That has been the story of the night for Virginia Tech. Only 1 strikeout for the Hokies here tonight. And 2 walks from Manis. 5 hits by the starter for the Tigers, but just 2 runs to show for it there in the second inning. Have a look at this. Runners in scoring position, 2 for 8. Kylie Aldridge. Boy, bro's got to be tired at this point.
The left side of the infield, Chanel over there at shortstop, they've both really covered a lot in this game. Yeah, that runner's in scoring position, 2 for 8, not a typical stat you see for the Hokies. Even the leadoff, I believe it was 2 of 6. And it all starts there. The momentum and the energy is very different if that leadoff batter is getting on versus starting with 1 or 2 outs in the situation they're in now with Mizell at the plate.
Going down the line. Well, Bro, the hero tonight, got the home run. Made a couple of solid scoops over there on the hot corner for Clemson. Great pitch from Manis. Got an 0-2. Hokies are a strike away from going into the 7th inning down 2 here. Just a bit low. Gotta really respect the command of Sierra Manis.
Just the relentlessness. I mean, of the Clemson team in total, the hitters, the defense, Manis in the circle, I mean, just continuing to show up and perform pitch after pitch. It's not always perfect, but continuing to face it.
That goes off the glove of Manis and then scoots into the outfield off of Collins. A much-needed 2-out single for Gabby Mizell, who has now reached base in all 3 plate appearances tonight. She is 3 for 3. So now it looks like Virginia Tech might make some sort of a move here. Rose was due up. And Emma Mazzarone comes on to hit for the Hokies. John Rittman out of the dugout for Clemson. All kinds of strategy here in this chess match. And is Sierra Manis' night done? Or is this just a conference in the circle here, Shelby?
I think it's just a conference here. And as we've talked about all night, Manis is the one that remains in the circle for majority of games. I don't see this as a moment to pull her. Hokies have had a few, hits, pretty solid contact, 6 hits on the scoreboard there, but there's still plenty of ground balls, plenty of miss hits.
And to Manis' credit, Virginia Tech has 6 hits. 3 of them are to Gabby Mizell. Mazzarone's first look at her fellow pitcher tonight. Does come into this at-bat with 41 on the season, hitting .317. Got a piece of that.
Foul ball right down into Hicks' leg there.
Needs a second.
She says, I'm good, don't come over here. She's like, keep it moving,
Please,
keep
go
it moving.
back, please.
And Mazzell, I'm curious if she was a bit overlooked in the Virginia Tech lineup, being a freshman new to the team with plenty of other big hitters for the Hokies.
Mazzarone right at second. Collins pops to second. And it's gobbled up there by the shortstop, Chanel. So the Hokies leave a runner on. 6 complete in Blacksburg. Clemson looking for insurance runs when we come back. Just Hokie fans lining the bleachers here at Tech Softball Park. Game 1 of this 3-game series, all Clemson so far. It is a close game, but everything that Clemson has done, or Virginia Tech has done on the offensive end, Clemson has had a defensive answer. Back here on the ACC Network, extra thanks for being along for the ride. Bailey Engel, Shelby Gwynn. Glad to have you with us on a gorgeous night for some ACC softball. Taylor Pipkins leading off the 7th and fouls it off on the first pitch. Emma Mazzarone has looked good tonight. Gave up 3 runs on the homer in the second inning with 2 outs. And another run came in for Clemson on the RBI single from Taylor Pipkins. It's inside 1-1. So Virginia Tech comes into this game on a 9-game winning streak. Clemson won earlier this week at home against Gardner-Webb, but was swept at home by Florida State, number 10 team in the country. Just a bit outside from Mazzarone. Trying to get over that 500 mark here in the ACC. It's foul again.
Some good pitches here by Mazzarone, kind of working around the strike zone and staying low in the zone with that drop ball.
Clemson's been impressive defensively, but they've also been impressive at the plate with these long at-bats. Patience at the plate that has made Mazzarone work. Another full count.
And that pitch count for Mazzarone really creeping up there. Again, the little bit of control, the struggle with control that we're seeing here might be some fatigue.
Bouncer right at Rose. That is 5 in a row retired for Emma Mazzarone. Brockenbrough made that great defensive play. Hokies were knocking on the door with a couple of runners in scoring position, but Brockenbrough rolled the dice and made the dive and grab. And that kept it at 4-2. If that drops, it's potentially Virginia Tech tying the game. Meanwhile, a bunt attempt and a throw sails into right field. So quick work for Brockenbrough to get on here with one out.
Good mix of skill there. Probably took Virginia Tech a little bit by surprise.
Trying to get some insurance runs here. Kylie Chanel. 0 for 2, does have a sacrifice bunt. Off the end of the bat, Chatfield wins the race to the bag, but it is a productive out for Clemson as Brockenbrough moves into scoring position.
Yeah, key there is runner at second. And then you do have one of your best, if not the best hitter in the Clemson lineup coming up.
For Brockenbrough, by the way, they called that a single on the ball that sailed into right field. It's going to be a tough play for Mazzarone, official scorekeeper says. So Brockenbrough now has 2 singles tonight. Meanwhile, I'll take a look at this conference here for the umpires. Looks like we're going to review something.
If we're reviewing a foul ball. If it was that close to the line. Possibly a runner leaving early. Could be multiple things.
Right. It seems like we almost made the whole game without a review, which
yeah,
I would love to have a review. It makes the game more interesting. It would be nice if it was a little bit more clear exactly what they are reviewing.
Mm-hmm.
So did Brockenbrough leave early? So yes, that is the question. Did she leave early? She does get a good jump.
Yeah, looks like she was right there on time. I mean, perfect leadoff. It is, her toe is on the bag right when the ball is leaving the pitcher's hand. That's a perfect leadoff.
I'll get the call from Smokey Eds. No change. Nope, Brockenbrough stays at second.
It was probably close enough, though. You know, we get to see it nice and slow like this.
Yeah.
But to the eye for Coach DeMore, it definitely was close enough to go ahead and call the review for it.
Especially at this point in the game.
Exactly, yeah, at this point in the game.
Vasey takes a big cut and a miss. She is due. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts and flew out to center field her last time up. Trying to add on to this 2-run lead and set the statement here in game 1 of the series. Fouled away, now no balls and 2 strikes.
Not necessarily a pressure situation for her at this point. 2 strikes, 2 outs, but still 2 runs ahead.
0-2 pitch. It's low. Yeager stays up, keeps the ball in front. Trying to send the Hokies to the bottom of the 7th for a final chance at the top of the lineup. Barring no changes, Foster, Lynch, and Abramovich all due up for Virginia Tech. Fouled away. Those pesky bats of Clemson. Pitch 120 coming up for Emma Mazzarone, the ace for Virginia Tech. Lays off.
Quite a bit out of the zone there. Definitely the worst thing would be to lose that control, advance that runner to third.
She deals. Swing and a miss. 5th strikeout for Mazzarone, and that sends the Hokies to the dugout and to the plate. Bottom of the 7th coming up. Final chance here in game 1 for Virginia Tech coming up. Emma Mazzarone keeping the Hokies in it. We'll have their final chance when we come back. Fans have left here tonight of all ages as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Virginia Tech trying to add on to its 9-game win streak. Sierra Manis has other plans for Clemson. She has pitched a gem for the Tigers so far tonight, has allowed 6 hits from Virginia Tech, but has kept the Hokies at bay. Just 2 runs scoring in the bottom of the 2nd inning. First pitch to the leadoff hitter. And Addison Foster goes outside and low. It's the 1-2-3 for Virginia Tech.
It's the ideal lineup you want here. Bottom of the 7th as well. I know we talked a lot about the attacking, the aggressiveness of Virginia Tech early in the counts, but now bottom of the 7th is where they need to kind of pause, be a little bit more patient, wait for the right pitch.
Back into the zone, Manis. Fouled it back, 2-2. Manis has forced Virginia Tech to hit balls into uncomfortable situations. They have not been able to barrel up on anything here today. And her fielders have backed her up, especially Kylie Chanel and Sarah Bro over on the left side of the infield. That's outside.
It's a great placement for that pitch, though. We've seen her throw that drop ball, and most of the time getting even lower, closer to the dirt. That was a great spot for it with that count.
Hicks trying to frame it up. Here comes a payoff pitch. Pop down the line, long charge for Johnson, and she makes the catch in foul territory. That's Pipkins actually moving over into left field. Good job by Pipkins tracking on that.
And night games are always interesting. We start the game with the sun in your eyes, and then we end the game with the lights potentially being in that vision.
And we saw in the first batted ball to left field, Abramovich almost lost it because the sun was right in her eyes, but not a problem now. Jordan Lynch, ACC Player of the Week. Drove in a run back in the 2nd inning. That's the last time the Hokies scored. Called a strike, 2-1. Tech fans may have thought that was a bit too far inside.
Seemed a bit inside, but I also think that Lynch is a bit close to the plate, probably to protect against the outside drop ball.
Another one in foul territory, goes into the bullpen. Oh, Tigers 2 outs away as Emma Lemley now on the staff for Virginia Tech. Not sure if that ball was a little close for comfort for her, the former Tech standout pitcher.
She's out of practice.
Full count. I haven't seen it many times tonight where Virginia Tech has taken Manis deep into account. Well struck, center field on the run. It drops on the warning track. Lynch on to second. She is in with the 1-out double.
Great contact, great patience there by Jordan Lynch. You see that pitch. That was a great shot by our camera crew there, zooming in on Manis's grip there. It was a screwball, hip height. That's the perfect pitch to wait on and be able to drive to the outfield.
Hit this, Shelby. That is the first extra base hit for Virginia Tech all night. What a time to do it. Now the tying run's at the plate. And the energy is back in the crowd for Virginia Tech. John Rittman steps out of the dugout. And if it's anything like we've seen all day today, it's likely not going to be a change here. Just a quick timeout, gets Clemson to breathe for just a moment. Manis has been great. I mean, for that to be one of the only well-struck softballs that we have seen tonight. I mean, I'm trying to think of another one. There haven't been many tough plays for the outfielders for Clemson to make on balls that were squared off of the bat. And
Yeah.
Jordan Lynch breaking that trend there.
A couple hot ground balls and
Right.
through the middle of the infield, but definitely that was the best one towards the outfield.
Abramovich, first pitch, misses the zone. Abramovich and Lynch tied with 11 home runs apiece for the team lead. It falls into the zone. Abramovich, if she breaks that tie here, would tie the game. Inside, missed by an inch. And Lynch, who just got that double, waiting idly by at second. Yeager's in the hole right now. Big cut and a miss.
Huge swing there. Great spin on the ball by Manis.
And to think that Abramovich was thinking about that 12th home run right there. Fouled it back, battling here. Make the game all the more interesting in the bottom of the 7th inning.
And that's the thing about college softball. It's never over until that final out.
Especially with two great teams like this. There's Lynch, the double at second base, the only extra base hit for Tech tonight. Abramovich down the line, right field. It's dropped in foul territory. Man, what a roller coaster of emotions right there. Tech fans might think that'll tie the game. That's Wilson, by the way, out in right field.
Very close to making this catch as
Right,
well. Oh, tips off the edge of her glove there. Again, one of those scenarios where it would be that second out of the bottom of the 7th inning, but also that runner is tagging up and getting to third if she makes that catch. So a good reset for everybody.
Fouled away again.
Outfield paying a lot of respect here. Just a couple steps from the warning track. Infield playing at the edge of the dirt as well.
Another 2-2. Abramovich staying alive. Another foul ball off on the right side.
Really going down for that drop ball. You see them, the outfielders just a couple steps there from that warning track, wanting to make this out.
Manis fires. Inside, ball 3. Ever so close to actually getting a piece of Abramovich there. 10th pitch of the at-bat. Sophomore awaits. Grounded right side sharply there. Collins makes the play. And the long at-bat ends in a productive out, but Virginia Tech running out of time. Jordan Lynch over to third. And Michelle Chatfield, 0 for 3, steps up to the plate.
Great at-bat by Abramovich. Lots of foul balls, seeing the ball really well. And again, to your point, Bailey, moving the runner, still a successful at-bat. But of course, in the bottom of the 7th, you hope you're not giving up that out to give your team a little bit more time.
Well, we talked about the home run, and particularly the home run hitters in 2026 for Virginia Tech. That's been Lynch and Abramovich. Michelle Chatfield has been the home run hitter for Virginia Tech her entire career. Hit 15 last year, just 6 this season.
And a reputation as a clutch hitter as well. Whether it is that home run or an extra base hit, anything to get that RBI, this is the person that you want at the plate right now.
Manis, I was actually wondering that. She had sunglasses on well past sunset here for a while. Chatfield with a 28-game on-base streak in jeopardy. And it might just end right here. Wilson charges in, and Clemson wins game 1 of the series. Statement victory for the Tigers on the road.
Yeah, behind the durable arm of Manis there, being able to really keep the Virginia Tech Hokies on their toes, not getting a lot of solid hits. Honestly, the consistency, the relentlessness of the Clemson Tigers, both at the plate and in the defense, that's really what sealed the deal for them tonight.
What a win for Clemson. What a game for the starting pitcher, Sierra Manis. That big home run in the 2nd inning was all it took for Clemson. Sarah Breaux hit her 2nd home run of the season, and then an RBI single later in the game from Taylor Pipkins. But Clemson improves to 25-13, 7-6 in the ACC. Virginia Tech's 9-game winning streak stays at a 9-game winning streak. 31-5 on the season, 7-3 in the ACC. So for Shelby Gwynn and our entire ACC network crew, I'm Bailey Engel saying so long from Blacksburg, where the final score, Clemson 4, Virginia Tech 2. To watch this entire game on replay, visit the all-new ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Have a great night, everybody.